brought to you by the Every Dollar app. Start budgeting for free today.
Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, it's The Ramsey Show, where we help people build wealth, do work that they love, and create amazing relationships. I am Rachel Cruze, hosting this hour with my good friend and best-selling author, Jade Warshaw, and we are here to answer your questions. So give us a call at 888-825-5225, and we'll be talking about your life, your money, relationships, career, anything and everything. All right, first up, starting us off, we have Joseph in Boston. Hey, Joseph, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Thanks for taking my call.
Absolutely. How can we help?
Well, so my wife and I, future baby step millionaires, started on these about a couple months ago. And we also had our first daughter about 5 months ago.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thanks be God. It was waiting quite a while.
Oh, that's great.
So my question is, I kind of came to a revelation in the discussion with my sister the other day about how all of us siblings are kind of not very good with money, haven't been historically just disciplined with money. And it's weird because we both had very frugal CPA, CFO parents. And so kind of tells me that just being good with money isn't enough to kind of impart that. I love my parents. I'm not blaming them for everything. But just something about our childhood, we just didn't get that knowledge kind of instilled in us, and that discipline and that prudence with money. And I'm just kind of wondering, kind of want to break the cycle, and what the best way when my daughter becomes of age, like how to kind of teach her that without being too strict.
Sure. You know, that I think you bring up such a good point, because a lot of people assume that if you're like, I mean, I'm assuming they're both savers, probably very frugal people. Is that right? Your parents?
Yeah, they were frugal. We weren't spoiled. We just never really suffered, I guess. We were a very comfortable childhood.
Okay.
And
yeah.
they were already, if we asked them about something, and especially this is true later in life, asking them financial advice, they were really open about it. But just there was never a really concerted effort to like teach us at the time when we were most, I guess, little sponges.
Impressionable, yeah.
Information.
Sure. And do you feel like they missed the mark from the tactical side, is what you're saying, on how to like budget and that kind of thing? Or do you think the spirit around money? Because what I was hearing you kind of say is, as CPAs and as people that are good with money, sometimes those people can lean on the end of being so frugal to the point where there's like not a level of hoarding, but they hold their money so closely that they almost can't enjoy it. And if you don't have this well-rounded spirit with money, it can kind of cut you, like, you know what I mean?
You go the opposite direction.
Yeah.
You want to go the opposite direction.
Yeah, but they weren't like that either. I think it was a communication issue. Like didn't seem to be frugal. Like we, they were smart with money. They seemed to handle money really well, and they weren't like hoarding anything. We asked them for something, like they paid for college. But I guess there was just never a lack of communication about money.
Well, let me ask you this. What areas specifically do you feel like you were missing, and what are those areas that you want to pass along? Was it, like Rachel said, was it budgeting specifically? Was it the dangers of debt? What was it that you feel like, man, if only I'd known that would have really, really helped me, and that's the thing that I want to make sure I hone in on?
I would say, I guess, yeah, I mean, maybe the I don't know. It's kind of a little bit of everything, but I guess yeah, the dangers of debt is huge. But kind of just, I guess, being disciplined, just being like willing your money to go somewhere. Like the best advice I got from my mom was when I was in college, and she'd say when I embarrassingly asked her for more money, and that was another thing too. She'd give me money when I asked for it in college.
Well,
but
I think the best thing you can do, I'll speak to it from one area. I'm sure Rachel will speak to it from another. So my kids are young, 5 and 7. And right now, the most important thing that I can teach them is like the value of $1, right? Money comes from hard work, and there's a value on that. And the value is not unlimited. The value is to the extent at which you work, right? So that's the most important thing I can teach them right now. If you work hard, you get money. The more you work, the more money you get. But it's not infinite. You go to the store, there's a price tag, right? So I'm teaching them that, hey, one thing really equates to the other. And what comes along with that is they realize, oh gosh, I got $5 from doing this work, and the thing I want might cost $7. So now I have to wait. So there's the delayed gratification that I'm teaching them. So I feel like at a younger age, those are things that they can pick up on. And truly, I do feel like that's one of those things that you do have to teach. It doesn't really just pop up in conversation. You have to teach them that, and you can do that through chores and through commission and that sort of thing. And then as they get older, there's other principles like budgeting that you start to teach. And then as they get older, then you start teaching them about debt. And honestly, my son has already kind of asked me about debt and like, what does it mean? And you can start to say it means you borrow money from someone and you have to give it back to them within a certain period of time. And this is the way it makes you feel. So all of that, I think, obviously, they do learn by watching you, but there is a deeper level that when you can explain things further, they're going to understand it on a deeper level.
Yeah, and I think, there's, in my head, too, these like layers of money and what it represents. Because even on this show, I feel like the calls we get, it can be so layered. So like at one end, I want my kids to know, and I feel like my parents did this well from a how they actually handled their money, and also what they communicated is like. And we were people of faith. And so there was like this like very, very high level that everything we have is not ours. And we are managing it for a greater good. And that's God in our, in our faith walk. And so there's almost this way of having money be something that is bigger than them, because we live in a world where it's so about me. I use my money for me. And there's something, a higher calling almost in this. And so that like that's a very high level, right? That's the very top overarching. And that there's a spirit to that. And there's a way we make decisions as a family. There's a way we talk about money, the way we view money. And it's coming through that lens. So that's a pretty like high level view. And then there's kind of that next layer, which is what Jade was talking about, like delayed gratification. I would put contentment in there. I would put gratitude in there. It's almost those emotions around money. And there's fear around money. There's greed around money, right? There's a lot of these ties to who we are as people and how we view money from our emotional standpoint that plays a really big part in this. And that kind of plays into that more tactical layer, which is that bottom layer of how it actually looks like us handling it day to day. How do we earn it, right? Just like Jade was saying, we earn it through work and teaching them that. We give money, we save money, we spend money. We do all three of those things as well-rounded people. We need to do all three. We don't want to spend everything we make, because then we'll end up spending more money and money that we don't have, and we go into debt because of that. So we only spend what we have. We're always being generous, and we're always giving. We're always saving for something. We need that delayed gratification. And that even gets down to, as they get older, saving, is talking about high yield account, money market accounts and high yield savings accounts and mutual funds and investing. And, you get into like the really tacticals, and that's very age appropriate. But I don't know if that helps, Joseph, but I kind of see those three layers for me is something that I think about with my kids. Because money is complex. I'm like, it's not just the dollars and cents, or we wouldn't have an interesting show here on the Residency show if it was just that. Like it is. There's a lot to it, and a lot to it is because it's us, the people that are actually handling it in our character. So those are kind of those are just my thoughts. I don't know if that helps, Joseph, at all, because it sounds like from what you were saying, your parents did a pretty good job. Everything you said didn't have any red flags, but maybe there's kind of these deeper meanings that you were wishing you had more thought about earlier in your life that maybe helps then play into the tactical side. So I don't know if that helps, but I love that you're asking the question, because I think it is an important topic to model for our kids and teach our kids. Hey, you guys, health insurance costs are only moving one way, and that way isn't down. And if higher costs aren't enough, the wait times to see your doctor are longer, and it's harder than ever to get anything approved through the bureaucracy. So, if you feel like the system is working against you, try a biblically based alternative to health insurance, Christian Healthcare Ministries. CHM is a health cost-sharing ministry that's helped hundreds of thousands of families like yours take care of over $11 billion in medical bills since 1981. CHM has also helped them stay true to their values and avoid miles of red tape. And CHM support goes far beyond meeting financial needs. They also help meet spiritual needs. Members become part of a family who will pray with them and for them when they experience a medical event. So listen, y'all, there's a better way to take care of healthcare costs. CHM programs start as low as $98 a month. So learn more today and join at chministries.org/budget. That's chministries.org/budget. Up next, we have John in Tampa, Florida. Hi, John. Welcome to the show.
Hey, how are you?
We're doing great. How can we help?
So I just had a question regarding debt and how I should go about it. Me and my wife are currently $310,000 in total debt. 180 of that is in our home, so we do have some equity in there. So my question was, should we entertain the idea of selling the home to pay off all of our debt? I understand there's probably going to be a few thousand left. We do have a little savings that we could use to tackle the rest of that. And then start from scratch, or should I keep the home and then just slowly start knocking off the about $130,000 debt that we have besides the mortgage?
What are your incomes?
Household pre-tax, probably about 120, 130.
Okay. And can you kind of list through the different types of debt that the 130 consists of?
Yeah, so there's a HELOC, and that's about 49. There's some private loan and credit card for 28. I have student loans for 24. And then we have 2 car notes, each about 15 left. And then just some furniture, that's about 3.
Okay. How do you feel about the house? I would not look at this and go, immediately we're selling our house. I kind of feel like that's a last ditch effort, unless there was some other reason around this. Maybe if you were thinking about moving anyway, or this was something that was coming up kind of naturally, I might consider it. But in this case, you're in debt to the tune of how much you earn, which is sadly very normal. I think we come across that a lot. So in this case, I'd be thinking, okay, how quickly do we want to get this done? And what's our plan to do that? How are we going to increase our income for us to make this happen, right?
Yeah, 100%.
So the cars, I'm looking at them. I'm guessing that you're probably going to keep them. You can tell me more about them. You can tell me what they're worth and what you owe.
Yeah, so I drive a 23 Elantra. I probably have, if I could sell it right now, probably 18. So I'm positive on the upside on that, about $3,000, I'd say.
Okay.
And my wife has an SUV. She had a good down payment on it, so I'm sure she's also on the upside on the equity.
Do you have kids?
So that's one of the main reasons why I'm just rethinking everything. We do have a baby girl on the way, which is super
congratulations.
exciting.
Okay.
That's great.
Yeah, I mean, it's great that you're right side up on these. You could consider downsizing them. I don't know that I would. What are the payments on both of them?
$400 for the SUV and then $415 for my sedan.
Wow, it is a lot in payments. I mean, it's $800 a month there. I just don't know. I mean, maybe you keep one and do the other. That's a beater. You could consider that. Go ahead.
Do y'all have any money saved, John? Put away?
Yeah, I'd say probably about like 10, 15 grand.
Okay.
Well, there's some money there. You can drop that down.
You know what, because the baby's on the way, we always say to kind of go in the stork mode, meaning I love that you're thinking about it and that this kind of was the motivator behind feeling like we got to get our crap together because we're about to raise a human. But we always say when you are expecting, just actually pause paying off debt, but with the same intensity, be saving. So the goal would be to have a pile of money. And then when baby comes, which I guess you guys would be due, February?
October, actually.
So
okay.
soon. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you guys just found out.
It's been a couple months.
Oh, gotcha. So just between now and October, just stash some money away, but create a plan as if you are paying off debt. And then once mom and baby are home and everyone's good and healthy, then take what you had saved and throw it at the debt. But what I'm seeing here, and it would be up to you guys, John, because as you guys kind of work through and kind of figure out, you and your wife will sit down and just say, okay, how much extra money could we earn? What could we cut out of the budget? We earn, $120, that's pre-tax. So what we actually bring home is, around probably $1. 100, and what if we tried to live on 75 and we threw 35 this year and we made extra? Like, you guys can sit there and kind of formulate, make up different scenarios of how you can get out of this debt faster. And then whenever you do that, I think it's always interesting. Cars is like the number one place where you can sell and get ahead. So I would see, okay, how many hours extra will I have to be working, or how much longer will we have to cut lifestyle in order to keep this $30,000 of debt versus you guys possibly selling both cars. I'm just saying as an example. Yeah. You have three, around 3,000 each. You have 15,000 saved. So what if you threw, an extra 3 at each, and you went and got a $6,000-$7,000 car each? Then that takes $30,000, John, off the table of debt, and frees up, to Jade's point, almost $850 a month extra now to continue to pay off debt that much faster. So it's kind of just a trade-off of time, energy, money. But whenever I see the cars, it's always where I go, where 100%. I'm like, man, you can just jump so far and get out of debt that much faster with these assets.
There's also the other conversation that I think of whenever somebody calls and the wife's having a baby, and that's kind of sparking things. Do you think that she's going to want to stay home? Is that what you're...
obviously the end goal, looking down the next few years, the plan will be for her to stay home. Okay. If it's possible. For now, I think in the maybe a couple months after the baby's here, we do have a good support system here where we are, with our parents being around and siblings and whatnot. So we've got plenty of help there.
Okay. When you mention the house, my brain always goes to that, because a lot of times a couple will go buy a house based on the two of their incomes. And it's like, okay, this is great. It's 25% of our salary. Then suddenly one of those salaries dips and it's like, oh crap, this mortgage is suddenly very expensive. So that's kind of the equation that I am looking at is that if that's what you foresee happening, then maybe the what you were talking about comes back on the table. But I don't know. I'd have to know more about your mortgage and what you guys' plans are. But that's something you do need to be thinking about and talking about, because we would say here that once that mortgage creeps up above 25% of your take home, that's when you're really going to start to feel it. Especially when it's greater than 30, you're really going to start to feel it. So that's just something to keep in mind as you guys plan going forward.
And out of the 120, how much is hers?
It fluctuates a lot. Okay. I'd say maybe like 50, 60.
Yeah. Okay. So it's almost half of it. And how much is the mortgage payment a month?
Mortgage is actually very good. 14, 15.
Okay. And you guys bring home what a month?
Maybe around 8, 9.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're good now. But you're good now. Hey, by the way, I could just tell by the way you were searching for those numbers. Before you get off, we're going to make sure you have every dollar so that you can plan for every dollar. Yeah. And know every dollar that's coming in and out.
Yeah, the budget really will help you guys, John. I mean, honestly, do a really, really detailed budget and start cutting stuff. Because when you're living, when you're dinks making 120, you don't realize the lifestyle creep that really does occur. And as you go through and see exactly where is my money going, Mel Robbins actually had a video about this on Instagram. Someone sent it to me. I thought it was good. She was like, I remember printing out my entire bank statement. And I was highlighting all the crap that I bought that I didn't need. And she was like, that was full of like a highlighter. Like, what could I cut? What do I need to cut? So it's that kind of mentality, John, from an expense standpoint that you guys really can. I mean, and honestly, what's great, and I always get encouraged when you are motivated to do this. I mean, for you guys, it's a 130. We'll just pretend 130,000 of debt. Pretend the cars are gone, just for fun. That's 100,000. Yep. You guys are at 120. You're bringing home probably closer to 100, 90 to 100. And if you earned extra, John, even $1,000 a month, you guys could be out of this in like 2 years. So it's really not. It's not like you guys are going to be in this for 7 to 8 years, but you have to be really dedicated to do some really intense sacrifices from the lifestyle standpoint and earning some extra income. And for you, especially between now and October, because that's going to be the sweet spot. When the baby comes, it gets much harder. It does. And from all aspects to do this debt-free journey. But families do it all the time. People have babies during their debt, payoff process. But you guys stock away a ton of cash. John, I would be working extra, doing what you can, and then map out a plan and write these debts out with your wife. Look at your budget and just say, how much extra can we throw at this debt and how fast is it for us to get out? Because I think you guys can do this in 2 and 2.5 years.
Yeah. Yep. Very good.
All right, Dave, you have some strong opinions.
Possibly, yeah.
I think so. Okay, because you really prefer credit unions over big banks.
Well, credit unions, for one thing, are non-profit, which means that the members, the customers, own the credit union. So any profits that the credit union makes goes back into customer pricing. So you get better interest rate on savings, cheaper checking, and so on, that kind of thing. But that's what's more important than that, though, is the fact that the customer is the owner changes the spirit on the credit union. So I find very few credit unions that aren't very customer-centric.
Well, and I think we have found one that is incredible, and that's Fairwinds. They are an incredible credit union that is really out with the heart to help the customer.
They're the right kind of people with the right kind of values. And they've done a really, really good job with customer service. And the deals that they're offering, the Ramsey Tribe, is incredible.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love it. The things that we teach, they so line up with. And you're right, their customer service is unbelievable. Winston and I just signed up and we got an account.
Yeah.
And I'm not kidding. It took less than 5 minutes. It was so user-friendly. Like, the step-by-step approach was unbelievable. And then the next day, my phone rings, and it says Fairwinds on my phone. So I answered it and talked to someone there, and they said, yeah, they give calls to every new customer. And so, again, they just really care about your experience, and I so appreciate that. Plus, anything that you can do at a traditional branch, you can do with them at fairwinds.org or on their app, and you'll have free access to over 33,000 ATMs.
Hey, you guys know how much I hate banks in general, and so for me to do this is a big deal. Talk to our friends at Fairwinds and check out the combined checking and savings bundle that they created just for the Ramsey Tribe. You guys, it's incredible.
Yeah, you guys, it's so easy to join Fairwinds no matter where you live. So go to fairwinds.org/Ramsey.
Fairwinds is federally insured by NCUA.
We are thankful for all of the new listeners and watchers that we've had on the Ramsey Show. This show has really done very well from a numbers standpoint the last couple of years, and that's because you guys, and partly because you all have subscribed, you leave reviews and comments and all of that, and that always helps boost and get this show in front of other people that don't know about it, which we want because we want to help people when it comes to their money. So we're always grateful for that. So continue to subscribe and leave a review, share episodes with your friends and your family, and continue to help spread the word about getting in control with your money and common sense in a world that doesn't have a lot of it these days. So that's what we like. All right, let's go to Nicholas in Grand Rapids. Hi, Nicholas. Welcome to the show.
Hey, how you doing? Thanks so much for taking my call.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for calling in. How can we help?
My question is, I recently got married in this last year, and I'm considering going back to school to finish my degree, but I'd like to keep working full-time while doing that. And I guess my question would be, what's the balance between working full-time and doing school full-time? So looking at like a 70 to 80-hour week, with balancing like kind of the new marriage and just not wanting to neglect those responsibilities.
Okay. What are you going back? Like, what's the end goal here?
The end goal would be, I have a 4-year degree right now, and I can go back for 1 more year, and that would really help me with pursuing my degree. I'm trying to become a licensed architect, and so if I go back for 1 more year, I can significantly advance my degree. I can get licensed, and so it's important for me to go back, but I'd like to I have a full-time job right now, and so that's also important to me. So I'd like to do both if it's feasible. And so there's sort of this crossroad between hustling now for kind of a more secure future and kind of getting a better paying job.
And it's just for a year?
It's for 1 year?
It's for 1 year.
Yeah, you could do that.
2 semesters.
Yeah. What's your wife saying about it?
She's a little bit worried that I would be too busy. She's also studying. She's also studying architecture. She's just finished right now, and so I think she is sort of very in tune with how busy it can get in school. And so I think she's a little bit nervous that 70, 80 hours could.
I mean, what's the worst? What's the worst that happens? You start the program, you realize I'm very busy, like too busy, and then you cut back on some of your work hours. Would that be possible?
I believe it would be possible to cut back on work hours. I would probably just have to have a conversation with the boss. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the only reason I'm kind of okay with it, Nicholas, honestly, is because it's 1 year. I mean, if you were talking about doing something for 4 years or 5 years, or you wanted to, we get this call sometimes. I'm like, oh my God, where they just got married and they want to move states away from their spouse to start a job. Yeah. I mean, like some really like long-term kind of bizarre decisions where I'm like, no. But this, Nicholas, has an end date. So that always gives me hope. It's not like, hey, I'm taking on this extra schooling and I don't know, if I get this, I may have to do this. It's not like it's this never-ending black hole. There's a clear start and stop. So you guys would just have to be on the same page of saying, hey, can we do this for a year? And I think you can do anything for a year.
Yeah, do it now while you're still just a couple before kids come involved and all these other things. How are you paying for it? Are you working your way through? Is that?
Yeah, that's sort of the idea. I mean, we have a little bit of savings. We're not really in debt. So the idea would be I would be able to pay for it just by continually working. That's sort of where that idea came from, was don't go into debt by you just keep working and pay it as you go.
Now, when you say that's the idea, I just want to know that that's actually the plan. Like you've really put thought around like the numbers and everything in. It sounds like you're kind of guessing at it.
No, we're pretty regimented with the budget. We've been listening for a while, so we've got it pretty all mapped out. So the work in the 40 hours a week would be more than enough to pay it as we went. It's just sort of
it's just the sacrifice of time. Yeah.
I think it's worth it. Short-term sacrifice, long-term gain. That's the way we'd say it over here. So
yeah, and it is. I mean, a year feels long, but it goes so fast, like so fast. Right. So that's where I think, I don't know. And then I don't know, in my head too, I'm like, we talk to people that are deployed in the military and they're gone for 9 months at a time. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like people do this kind of thing. And, but yeah, on a new marriage, I think it's really wise that she needs to be bought in. I think she needs to maybe hear from you, ways that you guys want to stay connected. Cause you don't want your marriage being on the back burner by any means.
That's right.
But I think you can healthily do both. And again, I'm saying this because the time frame is so short. So,
but what would be the other option? I mean, we didn't really ask you. If you didn't do this 1 year thing, what's the other option?
I think the other option would be we save up for another year in order to afford going back to school while not working, which would basically just push the timeline back by another year. And ultimately a salary boost from getting licensed would get pushed back another year. So
what is the salary
boost? Getting pushed a year. It would be probably $10,000 to $15,000, like just by finishing.
Mm-hmm. That's great.
Yeah.
Does she have a preference on A or B?
I think she would like us to look more into doing it slower over time. I think I'm a little bit more adamant about getting it done just because, like you said, God willing, we could have a kid whenever. And so I feel like we have the time to spare now. It's just a matter of it's just a matter of pulling the trigger and kind of using that time.
I will say, I mean, when you first said it, I was more along the lines of, just do it. Is it something you could feasibly do? I mean, working a full-time job and being in school full-time is that's not a cakewalk. Would you be able to meet the requirements fully of both?
I think so. I think I'm pretty confident in my own ability to do it. I just, I guess the question was more around the impact on my wife. I think I can handle it, but I'm trying to step back from that and be like, okay, I can handle it, but
I think you guys
just put that I don't think I can see.
I think you guys put some guardrails in place, right? And because here's the thing, if you start this program, let's say you get the first semester in and then can you reevaluate after the first semester? And then
Absolutely,
so you do the first semester, you guys kind of have that check-in. How do we think this is going? Can we do another one? And if everybody feels good, you green light forward. And if you guys have
And if she throws a red flag after the first semester, you need to listen to her, because you're kind of, if you choose A, you're kind of choosing your way, which again, part of marriage is a little bit of that, right? There's some things we just kind of give and take. I'd rather not, but you want to, but I think that give her a lot of weight after that first semester to throw a flag if she needs it. And you need to really, really, really listen to that if she does, is what I would say. I think that's a great point, Jade.
Yeah.
So but I think for you guys,
advice. Thank you.
You guys have been married for how long?
We're coming up on 1 year on June 2nd.
Okay, so still newlyweds.
It is still very new.
That's great. Yeah, so I think, things, and it sounds so kind of tactical and like not romantic, but having things in the calendar of okay, let's map out, and on this Saturday, let's go and we're going to take a day trip here. We're going to do some things that are earmarked throughout that year so she knows and can feel like some relief in the schedule to have time with you, and plan those things ahead of time, right? It's not like this spontaneous for me. And it doesn't have to be a every weeknight, Tuesday night. You don't have to be that legalistic about it, but you guys be really intentional about the calendar. And I have found in marriage, I don't know if you guys do this, Jade, but on Sunday nights, Winston and I, we look through every single day of the week and we say out loud the schedule of okay, I need to leave for work. I had a meeting hit this morning at 8, so I have 7:30. So Winston, you got to take kids, to school.
Yeah,
we had to
look ahead.
Yeah, you are literally mapping out very tactically throughout the week, and something about that brings a lot of peace where there's not a lot of mystery. Because I think in a busy season, which people experience a lot, these busy seasons, the kind of the unspoken things and the questions create stress, and where you can eliminate the stress by having some really clear conversations and communications week to week, even down to dinners of I'm not going to be home Tuesday, Thursday nights. So as tactical as you can get in busy seasons is always gives me a level of control and peace, which just helps enjoy where you are in the moment too, because you want to be present. So it's a good question, Nicholas. I'm glad you called.
Most phone plans are like bad roommates. Unpredictable, always asking for money, hard to get rid of, and they never do the dishes. But Boost Mobile, totally different story. It's just $25 a month for unlimited talk, text, and data. No contracts and no weird hidden charges. Just $25 a month forever. That's right, the $25 price will never go up. And if you're still skeptical, I get it. That's why Boost Mobile offers a 30-day money-back guarantee. So try Boost. You'll love it or get your money back. Go to boostmobile.com/Ramsey to make the switch today. That's boostmobile.com/Ramsey.
Restrictions apply. See boostmobile.com/Ramsey for details.
If you're tired of living paycheck to paycheck and you just keep wondering, where is all my money going? Well, the first step to get control is to do a budget. And our team is hosting free budgeting trainings this month. So you can really learn step by step how to create and stick to an every dollar budget. And they answer your budgeting questions live during the Q&A. So if you have a specific one about your specific situation, this is the perfect place to ask. Spots are limited. So sign up for free at everydollar.com/webinar. Up next, we have Brandon in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Hey, Brandon, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for taking my call.
For sure. Thanks for calling in. How can we help?
Well, I've run into a bit of a speed bump here as far as my wife. We did the baby steps. We were in over $200,000 in debt, knocked that out in a few years, and now it's time to put money away, 15% of my income, into mutual funds. And she's just wanting to park it in a high-yield savings account. And because she says she's scared to lose it. So I'm just kind of curious the best way to go about. I mean, I've sat her down. I've said, hey, this over the long term, this is going to run its course. We're going to, become millionaires. And it doesn't seem to stick. So I've kind of run into a rut where we're just putting money into a high yield savings account, and 4% is good, but it's not 12.
Right. It sounds like two things, or one of two things. A, something happened in the past and she or someone she knows lost money in the stock market, meaning they took money out when it was at its lowest point. Or
her dad, yeah.
Her dad?
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
That's where it is.
So that's where it's originating from. And then that lack of knowledge is continuing till today. So first off, I think what she's not understanding is that when her dad pulled that money out, he locked in his losses when he pulled the money out. But had he have left it in, he would probably have tons.
Yeah. What's the story with the dad? What happened?
Well, I don't know the full story because it's a pretty sore subject. Other than the fact that he had money in there, he pulled it out. I don't know how long it was in there or anything like that, but he's constantly telling her, "Oh, you can lose a lot of money in that market."
Is he still living?
I'm just like,
is he still living?
Yeah. He's
okay,
still,
so he's still
he's a big influence on her.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah.
So somebody needs to play out the scenario. I'm just trying to put myself in your shoes. If this were my husband, I'd say, well, okay, we know what happened when he pulled the money out. He lost a bunch. Has anybody ever played out what would have happened if he didn't pull the money out? And then I'd look at that scenario because I think that'd be eye-opening to say, hey, here's the thing. If that money had never come out today, here's what it would be worth. And that kind of shows the truth of how the stock market works. So I think this is a really delicate situation because, like you said, it's touchy because money was, quote, lost. But it's hard to say, hey, the mistake was on you. Mm-hmm. You're the one who pulled it out, right? But even though that's kind of the truth, you've got to be...
Look in the mirror.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think validating her because, that is scary. If a family member like that, your own parents went through something, it's like, I want to avoid what they went through because it was obviously very painful, not fun. I don't want to do that. So that makes sense that she's, has that level of fear. But what can happen, Brandon, is fear can paralyze us, and fear can make us do make really bad financial decisions. We would quote this all the time, especially during COVID, and someone said it, and now I cannot remember who it was, but they said we make our worst financial decisions when we're fearful and drunk. Or maybe both. Maybe both. No, it was like some guy. I don't know who it was. It was like,
That's
but
funny.
we would quote on there.
Drunk.
Yeah, they would always say, if you're fearful or drunk, you make really bad money decisions.
Describe COVID.
So we kept telling people, so again, it makes sense that she's fearful, but also we can't let fear dictate and make our decisions because it's an emotion that's not trustworthy. It is there to create safety for us, right? There's fear and our body reacts to it. And it's like, I'm on guard and why? And sometimes the threat is real, right? I mean, if you see a bear and you're like, that's scary. Like that's a very real, right? Your body's response is correct. Right. So run or whatever you're supposed to do when you see a bear, lay dead or whatever you're supposed to do. I don't even know. But,
yes,
but the fear here, while I understand it's not based in reality. It's based in someone's situation, but that's not the reality out there. And so I think that's what she has to really overcome. So maybe, Brandon, even you guys, we always say a 3 to 6 month emergency fund. Maybe you bump it up, 6, maybe 6, 7, 8 months just to give some extra buffer in that high yield. Just to know if something happens, we are going to be okay. Like we have an emergency fund for the emergency fund kind of idea, right? So she may just need some extra security. And then you guys just keep, my hope was that you guys do start investing because I think you're exactly right. From a math standpoint, you want that compound interest as early as possible. And then you guys just keep reevaluating and don't look she doesn't need to look every day at the market because it's going to dip and the news is going to freak out. And then she's going to be like, oh my God, the world's coming to an end. Right. So don't look at it. But like once a year, you guys need to reevaluate and just say, okay, what did this year look like? But it does take I guess in her case, kind of that leap of faith. It's not really a leap of faith because I think there's a lot of facts around it, but it does take a level of trusting the system and
being willing to learn something new outside of a previous experience. That's the hard part.
It's a great point. Yeah.
Right.
So I don't know if that helps, Brandon, but yeah, it's a hard one because again, I think her fear is valid, but yet just because it's valid doesn't mean that we make decisions around it.
That's right.
But thanks for the call. All right, let's go to Aaron in San Diego. Hi, Aaron. Welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for taking my call. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So my question is pretty short and to the point. I currently have just $4,000 in credit card debt and about $11,000 in a car loan. I really have no other debt. I'm 26 years old. I make about $100,000 a year. I do live in San Diego, so it's
it doesn't go very far.
Yeah, it doesn't go very far. Yeah, but my question is, I'm a ex employee of a rather large tech/car company. I'm pretty sure we know what company that is. But I left with a pretty sizable amount of stock. It is fully vested, however, it is technically a short term since it hasn't been over a year old. I'm not too informed on all the tax implications, but should I sell? I have about currently right now, I think the market rate for the stock is like $3.40 a share. I have about like 14,000 right now. Should I sell some of that and pay off my credit card? Should I sell all of it and pay off my car and my credit card? I've been listening to you guys for a few weeks now, and I'm really trying to be focused on that peace of mind. Like, it always starts young. It's only $4,000 in credit card debt, but then it grows into 10, into 20, into 30. And lucky enough, I don't have any student loan debt, but I just want to knock out any debt at all. So what do you guys think is the best course of action here? Should I just use my income and save up and pay off my debt that way? Where should I be going?
Yeah, so normally we would say that. We always say to sell anything that is non-retirement. And we are not big fans of single stocks just because it is so volatile that if that one company somehow loses everything, right? And I think I know what company you're talking about, so I don't know if that's going to be the case, but you never know, right? We were even looking the other day, Jade, in a team meeting at Peloton, when Peloton was like so big.
Yes.
And it's like gone to nothing, basically. You know what I mean? So I'm like, it was hot, So just the idea that, just because something's working today, it may not be the best long-term play because you never know. So getting rid of single stocks would be something that I would recommend, and then using any of the profits to go ahead and pay off debt, and then go and take the proceeds, everything else, because you'll have way more than what you have in debt. And, you can go put that in a Vanguard account, an index fund, open up a mutual fund, and just have more diversification with that money and let it grow long term without, again, that volatility of just that one specific company.
How much will it be when you cash them in?
So if I were to sell everything right now, if I was looking at a trade account, it's like 13-ish right now, and it's the current rate for the stock is like 340. I don't know how many shares I have. It's like 31 or 32.
Okay.
Oh, I thought you said you had 4. Oh, I'm sorry. I misheard your numbers. But so I would go ahead and sell it and put that towards the debt.
Just be ready for the tax hit when it comes, because it will come on your income taxes.
Yep, for next year. Yeah, if you sell in 2025, it'll be there in the 2026 when you get it in April.
That's right.
Thanks, Aaron, for the call. Thanks to everyone in the booth. Jade, thanks always for being a great co-host. Thanks to our studio audience here at Nashville. And thank you, America. We'll be back. Live from Ramsey Solutions, it's The Ramsey Show, where we help people build wealth, do work that they love, and create amazing relationships. I'm Rachel Cruze, hosting this hour with best-selling author Jade Warshaw, and we are here to answer your questions at 888-825-5225. So give us a call, and we'll be talking about your money, your life, marriage, relationships, career, kids, anything and everything. So give us a call. Up first this hour, we have William in Indianapolis. Hi, William. Welcome to the show.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Yes, thanks for calling in. How can we help?
So my fiancée, we're planning on getting married this August, so pretty soon.
Congratulations.
She went into surgery, a pretty simple surgery, gallbladder to be more specific, and they coded her on the table. So she was, she is now doing well. She had a trach for 6 months, but in that time she got a pretty good lawyer, and he won us around, won her. I'm not entitled to any of it, but won her around $1.3 million after we pay him and everything. we should have around that. So my main question for calling today is, like, we were planning on getting a house because we are getting married, but we didn't know if we were going to do like full cash pay for the house and get it over with, or a really hefty down payment, since neither one of us have much credit right now. That way we could build our credit in the future. But I didn't know what would be the best option. Neither one of us have had money like this before. So
sure. How's she doing now? Is she
she's
good?
doing very well.
Good.
So
I'm
my
glad.
fiance was born deaf.
Okay.
So just by a normal person, you would be able to tell, like, hey, there's something a little different. She's not an adult size, like, airway. You know what I mean?
Right.
Just by hearing her talk.
Yeah.
So you would think that doctors would definitely be able to tell.
Oh, man.
And so, yeah, but she's doing very good now after the.
So impressive.
We
Wow,
went
she's
to
incredible.
Cincinnati. Shout out to Cincinnati Children's Hospital for being the best airway reconstruction in the United States, and luckily we were very close to them.
Wow.
So,
My gosh.
Wow.
Okay, so William, you get married in August. Will either of you be bringing debt into the marriage?
Negative. Neither one of us have student loans, any credit card debts. We both drive older vehicles.
Wow.
Good for you.
I mean, yeah, I'll be simple with my answer, Jade. You probably can explore it a little bit more. But yes, this would be a really, 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 really wise way to use this money. If you guys started off your marriage with no mortgage payment, and the amount of money you guys could be investing and saving for the future is going to be insane, William. What you guys can do versus sending a payment to a mortgage broker or to a bank.
Yeah.
You guys pay yourself a mortgage payment and invest that. Like the numbers are astronomical what that could do. So short answer is I think that's a very wise way to use this money is to spend cash and use
buy it outright. What do you think it would cost for you guys to get what you want, in Indianapolis?
Yeah, her only stipulation is 2 bathrooms, so she's not very difficult. Around $175,000 to $200,000 is around the price range we were looking at for something that's going to be a lifelong house for us.
Wow. Okay. That's a lot less than I was thinking when I look at the median home price in the United States. So,
well, we live in 500 square foot right now. So anything is an upgrade.
That's true. That's true. Okay.
So let's just say you guys went crazy and spent $300,000.
Yeah.
So that means you have $1 million left. So I think the next question, so yes, 100% be paying cash for this house, even more so than probably more emphatically than what we were thinking earlier.
Yes.
And then for the $1 million, take some of that, William. You guys can upgrade cars. That would be another thing to think about. And then, we always say to give, save, and spend.
Yeah.
And so with the rest of that, do some generosity and do some giving with that.
I'd probably sit with a SmartVestor Pro and figure out how to invest a good portion of it. For sure.
And of course, if you give to someone, you're going to get back astronomically because that's just how the universe works.
It is like that sometimes, although it's not always financial. So keep that in mind.
100%.
But yeah, what Rachel said, I'd upgrade the cars. I'd take my time on this, right? I think that's the big thing. Like if you just go out and it's kind of like shopping spree and you buy a house and buy 2 cars, and it's like, I feel like that's probably a where you could get into no man's land there. But take your time buying this house, take your time doing your research, just as though this money were never there. How would you take your time to do your research on these things, right? And then, I would set aside 3 to 6 months of expenses. I'd throw that in a high yield savings. You guys come up with some things that might be important to you on the giving side. Yeah. And then that investing, if you invest a good chunk of this and let it grow and just set it and forget it, that's going to be really, really great for your legacy.
Yeah. How much do you guys make a year, William? How much combined income will you have once you guys get married?
So combined, she has a fixed income around $1,000 a month that she will not be losing because of the trust fund that is set up through the malpractice case. So she will still get her Social Security income, which is what she gets. And then I work around 40,000 is what I bring home yearly.
Okay. So you guys are roughly about 52,000. And so that will be her income, correct? She doesn't make anything above that payment?
That is correct.
Okay. So yeah, I would, it's going to take some discipline, which you sound like you guys are pretty disciplined.
Seems like it.
That you don't start living like, because this money is a one-time payment, right? This is not an ongoing salary that you all will be getting every single year. And so watching the lifestyle and not acting like, oh my gosh, we're a bunch of millionaires.
Yeah.
Right. Like I would be living, and I don't think you will be. You guys seem very mature.
I'm not going to change my lifestyle.
I can already tell. When you said what you wanted to
know.
spend on the house, I was like, we're going to be fine.
But I do want you to buy some cars. Yeah. I will say that as your spender friend. You can get some new cars.
I drive a 99 right now. That thing's about to fall.
Yeah. So get some nice cars. And then, you guys, and part of this too, if you invest it wisely, you guys can be living off of a portion of this every year if you want. But again, sitting down with the SmartVestor Pro is probably going to be your best bet just to make sure the longevity of this lasts, hopefully, beyond you guys. I mean, that's what this kind of money can do if you invest it early, which is really beautiful.
It's generational if you can invest it right. Yes.
That's exactly
How
right.
old are you?
I am 24.
Oh, most definitely. Yeah.
I was going to say one more thing. I believe that the way that it works in Indiana, I don't know how it works anywhere else, but the insurance company, when they come through a hospital and they have a malpractice case, they can only pay us out a certain amount right now, and then they pay a percentage of that over time. So she's going to get $175,000 over a 30-year period. Every 5 years, she gets a slight increase in the chunk that she gets.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. So what you guys would have to do is just have a timeline of knowing when is this money coming and what are we using that chunk for at a time. So that actually kind of spreads it out, which it will slow you guys down some, possibly, that's good. Which is fine. Well, I'm glad everyone's okay. Thanks for the call.
One of the first things I discovered working in the financial world is how absolutely devastating it is when the breadwinner of a family dies and there's too little life insurance or none at all. Grieving families are suddenly left behind, scrambling to pay bills and trying to make ends meet. I also discovered that there are a lot of rip-offs in the life insurance world, like that whole life crap posing as an investment opportunity. What you need is level term life insurance, usually 10 to 12 times your income, which is the smartest, most affordable way to protect your family. The key is finding an independent broker who represents a ton of companies and works for you, not for the insurance company. This is exactly what my friend Jeff Zander and his team at Zander Insurance are all about. They shop the term life companies to find you the best options, and they've been around for over 95 years. So they'll be there when you need them. Zander is the real deal. And that's why they've handled all my personal insurance for over 25 years. I trust them, and you can too. Visit Zander.com for instant online quotes, or for a more personal touch, give them a call at 800-356-4282.
The Ramsey Show question of the day is sponsored by YRefi. If you're buried in defaulted private student loans, you are not alone. Reach out to YRefi to see if they can build a custom plan to help dig you out. Visit yrefi.com/Ramsey today. That's YREFY.com/Ramsey. May not be available in all states.
All right. Today's question of the day comes from Patrick in Connecticut. He says, our current mortgage balance is $850,000, and we also have an $8,000 car loan as our only other debt. My wife wants to get a $1.5 million loan for a second, larger home and cash out our single stocks for the down payment. We earn $350,000 a year. I am losing sleep over this idea, and it feels like we're going backwards. I want to invest more in retirement and save for our kids' education. She wants to sell our first home later on to pay for college costs. What would you recommend that we focus on? Okay. So just to clarify, she wants to keep the current house, that's $850, and then cash out stocks to put a down payment on a second home that would be worth $1.5 million. And she's like, hey, it's all good, because in the future, when it's time to pay for college, we can just sell the $850,000 house that'll likely be worth more. Yeah, I don't like this. I think that what you're feeling is correct. You're just having a lot of skin in the debt game.
Yes, a lot of risk.
It's a lot
happening.
I wonder why she wouldn't just, I mean, he's not on the line, but I wonder, in my mind, it's like, okay, if you want the $1.5 million house, sell the previous house, take the proceeds and roll it to the $1.5 million house.
Yeah, it sounds like it's like I make up a vacation home or something, you know what I mean? And the problem with all of this is, you know, she wants the nice second home, doesn't want to have to pay for kids' college right now. She doesn't want to put money away to save for that. So it's a lot of present
for today.
Feeling. Yeah, it's a lot of things today. This is what I want today. So I'm going to make decisions based on today without really looking long term and saying, okay, what's best for us? Where we can have a fun life today. It's not like you want to be miserable today.
Right.
But yet you want to be wise and not let this be the motivator. Don't let today be the motivator. Be thinking long term, because you guys have a lot of life to live. And it doesn't sound like a lot of wise decisions.
You're going to be carrying two mortgage payments. So really what we're saying is think about the opportunity cost on it and what that's going to cost you long term. Clearly, she's not interested in thinking that way today.
No. Yes.
But you have your work cut out for you, Patrick, but you are correct. Don't do this.
Yep. So I don't know. I would sit down and I want to know her motivation for the second home. And if it is a vacation type, you know, situation, it's like a vacation home, you know, could you guys rent somewhere, you know, for 2 weeks a year and still be able to enjoy your vacations, but you don't have to own the home that you're going to right now, especially because you guys have still car loans and a mortgage on your primary home. So getting that paid down for sure would be the wiser way. And I would, cash out some of those stocks to pay off the car loan, especially, you know, if they're not in retirement too. Hope that helps. But sorry, Patrick. We're the bearer of bad news for your wife.
We are. I don't know why I'm totally reading too much into this question, but I feel like she's just out here trying to live that life. I'm like, you guys are in Connecticut. It's super expensive. Yeah. I always think about sometimes when you're in an area that's super expensive and you see how other people are living, you kind of feel like I have to be doing that as well.
Yes.
But that's not
the reality.
That's not the reality. I always think about basketball teams, right? And it's like the Jimmy Butlers, they get paid the big dollars, but like the seventh and the eighth man, they don't make what Jimmy Butler makes. So if you go out with Jimmy Butler, you can't get what he gets.
Yeah, that's
you know what I mean? Like
so
you
true.
can't live that life. So anyway, I don't know why I feel like she's just trying to live the life that she's seeing other people live.
Yeah, it's looking that way. Oh man, that's
just
so
saying.
funny. It's so true though.
Yeah,
especially like on a sports team.
Yeah,
like these guys are like,
the salary ranges
is like so significantly different. Yeah, so it takes a lot of maturity, to push through that.
It does.
Oh, all right, let's go to the phones. We'll go to Jason in Kansas City. Hi, Jason. Welcome to the show.
Hey, guys. Thanks so much for taking my call.
Absolutely. How can we help?
So I'm a medical student, and I am incredibly blessed. I'm going to be able to graduate medical school 100% debt-free.
Oh, my
gosh. My car's paid off.
How did you do that?
Wow.
My parents are both docs, too.
Okay. Wow.
They've been incredibly supportive. I'm eternally grateful. And I currently live in a home that's fully paid off as well. They purchased it for me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's a huge blessing. So I am pursuing a medical specialty where the prestige of your residency really matters if you want to work in a desirable area later in life. It's a pretty small field and limited job market. The challenge is that most of these top-tier residencies are in really expensive cities that would be much pricier than the life I currently live. So my question is, do you think it would be a financial mistake to leave this very stable, low-cost setup in order to train at a more prestigious program that might be able to open better doors for me long-term, depending on where I go, maybe even having to take out loans for some living expenses, or do you think I should just try to stay put and risk possibly a more limited job options later?
Are you allowed to sell the house that your parents got you and use that money to put towards living expenses in the more expensive area?
So yeah, it is in their name, and that is an option for sure. I think there's another layer of it too that I don't want to feel disrespectful just that they've done so much for me and given me this great house. And I'm like, hey, by the way, I'm flying the coop and moving somewhere else. You know what I mean? But that's another side to the issue.
Kind of, but the way you set it up, I mean, to be honest, the way you set it up, it sounds like they're in the doctor field. And they've been so supportive. It feels like, based off of what you said, that they would understand what you just explained to us, that, hey, my residency really matters. I mean, have you talked to them about it, and what did they say?
I haven't, to be honest. I've been a little afraid just because I think I have been worried how they might respond to me saying I might want to leave this house that they bought for me. But I definitely can try to have that conversation. And you're right. I mean, they're both physicians. They'll probably be understanding.
Yeah, I also have questions about the vocabulary you're using about they bought the house for you. It's in their name. So it brings up other questions, which is this really my house? Does this mean we can sell it when I'm ready? Or is this something that they're viewing as just a rental and for now you're the one living there? And when you move on, someone else will, like, it just brings up a lot of other questions that I have.
What's the expectation of the home? Like strings attached, besides what you're just kind of feeling and thinking, was anything ever said when they gifted you the home?
Well, so I think I know they're on it. I think I might be listed on the home, but I mean, they're definitely the ones who have the most ownership in it. And, I think they kind of bought it thinking I was going to stay where I'm at long term, and train where I'm at. And it really hasn't been until I got into medical school and realized that, this field that I want to pursue is really what I want to do. And it's probably going to require me to possibly move somewhere. So it was kind of came out of the blue a little bit unexpected.
Well, I mean, don't get me wrong. When somebody offers that, on face value, it's a great gift. But at the same time, you don't want it to be, golden handcuffs that keeps you chained to an area.
That's the reason that you're there is for a house. Right?
Yeah,
like,
that
would be
feel
silly.
right.
Yeah, that would be silly. That would not be wise long term. I think you're exactly right, Jade. Okay. So I'm just thinking through going to talk to them. I would definitely just tell them kind of what you're thinking and where you're at, and maybe be a little prepared in the conversation of running some numbers of, here's probably the top 3 areas I'll probably end up in, and do some research and just say, okay, how much realistically will rent be? Realistically, what would life look like from a financial standpoint, and how long would you be in these cities?
Residency is going to be about 5 years.
Okay. So it's a significant time. And when you're saying expensive, are you thinking like New York City, San Francisco, LA, like Seattle?
Probably, New York, San Francisco, LA, some of the Boston, some of the more really expensive cities that have, really reputable healthcare systems.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. So I would run some numbers and just know, okay, here's how much it's going to cost me to live per month. I would not take out loans, Jason.
Not at all.
I think either you figure out another way to make some money to support yourself during that time, but also have that conversation and just say, hey, I'm looking at all my assets, and I do have this house, in my head as an asset, but I want to be respectful of you all. Just tell them how you're feeling and just have a conversation about it. But be prepared with some numbers so you at least kind of have a plan going in, knowing here's the direction I'm leaning. But you may not be able to afford it, Jason, if they don't give you this house.
Rachel, do you ever get these sketchy text messages that are like, hey, you need to update your address and verify so we can get you the package you didn't order?
Yes, I have, George. Sketchy, and never trust them.
And that's why we recommend Delete Me. They help with that.
Yeah, they do. Delete Me actually goes in and removes your information from data broker websites, and it is an incredible service that everyone needs.
And there's a lot of shady companies out there that solely exist to sell your personal data to bad guys. And that means your info, like your email address, your home address, your kids' names, your name, everything is just out there for scammers and spammers to find.
So much.
But Delete Me will delete your data, hence the name. It's gone. They'll wipe it out for you. so you can sleep easy.
That's right. And then once they remove your information, then they're going to send you a detailed report telling you where they found your information, when they removed it, how many hours they've saved you. I mean, it is incredible. It's so detailed and it's beautiful.
Get this. So far, they've reviewed 27,000 listings on my behalf, removed me from 240 data broker sites, and saved me 77 hours of time. It's incredible.
Absolutely amazing. And Winston and I now get fewer texts, weird emails, spam calls, all of it.
I love it. So you got to be sure to check them out. Ramsey fans get 20% off their annual plans. Just go to joindeleteme.com/Ramsey. That comes out to less than $9 a month. Super affordable.
Again, that's joindeleteme.com/Ramsey. Make sure to check it out, you guys. When it comes to debt or building wealth, people often can forget an important step when it comes to reaching their goals, and that's having insurance and having the right coverage, or too little or too much can really impact how long it takes you to build wealth. So skimping on insurance might feel like saving, but when life happens, it is not great because you may not have a safety net that you need, and we don't want debt to be that safety net. So the right insurance acts as a shield around your loved ones and your wallet if disaster strikes. And in some cases, it can save you money if you're paying too much for insurance. So how do you know if you have the right coverage? Make sure to take the coverage checkup. It's an online free resource that creates a personalized insurance action plan for you that's unique to your situation. And it makes an overly confusing topic really easy to understand and gives you the next step specifically for you and your situation. So go to RamseySolutions.com/checkup to take the coverage checkup, or click the link in the description if you are watching on YouTube or listening on podcast. Up next, we have Derek in San Jose. Hi, Derek. Welcome to the show.
Hey, Rachel. I'm a big fan, and it's a real honor to speak with you. Thanks so much for taking my call.
Absolutely. Thanks for calling in. How can we help?
So I recently got engaged. My fiancée and I are both 36 years old. We're looking to start a Brady Bunch. We've got 5 kids between 10 and 12 between us.
Oh, wow. Between 10 and 12? Is that what you said?
Yeah, I have twin sons who are 11, and she has a 10-year-old, 11-year-old, and 12-year-old.
Oh, my gosh. That's going to be a house full. That's fun. So great.
Yeah, it's been really fun. Yep. So the reason I'm calling is because we have a pretty large difference in assets. And I think based on your advice, the advice would be that we should get a prenup. So I have roughly $12 million and she has roughly $50,000. And so we started the process of looking into a prenup, and it's been an emotional one. And I totally understand why. And I think especially, like, we went through a questionnaire talking together about it. But then when we got the first draft back from my lawyer, that's when she's really not been feeling good about it. And I understand the concerns. So, I mean, she feels like I wouldn't be fully entering the marriage in the same way that she is, because it feels like I'm holding assets like separately off to the side. And I'm sensitive to that, and especially in some of the context of her former relationship. And so I'm just looking for maybe more clarity and like what you guys would recommend.
Oh, man, this is a hard one because I think it is a wise decision to do one. And I say that even more. I have a friend who's going through not a great situation, and she came in with a lot more. And now he's just, it's just messy. It's messy. And there's a level, again, you're hoping and praying, obviously, that this is the one and that it's going to last a lifetime. Mm-hmm. But as you guys have experienced, there is a reality to all of this. And whenever any of us get married, right, I think there is like this, like, okay, I'm choosing you for a reason and for a lifetime. But we also don't live under a rock and know that things change in life and situations come up. And unfortunately, some really hard things happen and does causes marriages to break up, right? To enter into divorce, and we don't want that. So I'm curious, what were the parts of it that was making her because you guys went through a questionnaire together, and it didn't sound like the questionnaire brought up a lot of red flags, but when she was actually like reading it, does she feel like she won't be taken care of if something happens, or like what's that underlying?
That's a concern. Yeah. Yes. And I think especially like, her kids as well too. And it's something that I want to address, and I think we could address like in a will or like some other document or method after we get married. And it's something that I want to do. Like I absolutely would want her and her kids to be taken care of too if something, didn't happen to us. I think it also, it feels very condescending to her that like that either she, and I don't see it being a problem for her at all. Like my goal in this, and I think that's what your advice is that in our case, that I know is rare, it would help protect our marriage. And that's what I want to do. But I totally understand that she feels it's condescending, like to her, maybe her and her family and her friends, that they might be a problem, and that we would need this to like protect against them.
Can I ask how like stringent this prenup is, like how strict it is? Because when I've heard calls about this before, my question is always, is there a way that this can be more progressive, that over time and over years, some of the restrictions fall off? Like, does that make sense to where it's like the longer we're together and the more that this feels right, some of this starts to fall off and now we start to become one. And after a while, it's all gone and we are one. Is there anything built in like that?
So there's nothing currently built in like that. So other than that, it's pretty basic. So everything we enter into the marriage with is separate property, except she has a small amount of debt, and she's been awesome about eliminating debt, especially the situation she came from. But I don't want her to carry it all. Like we would just pay it off. And then everything after the date of the marriage is shared. So income that I make or she made, we just share it. Our plan is that she would stop working. She'd be able to be home with all these kids.
Does that include interest on the $12 million, like as that grows, or does any growth on that $12 million remain yours?
Yeah, so at least as it's currently structured, the growth in that would remain mine. I think we have talked about, it's not in the document, but like if I were to stop working to also help with the kids, which would be an option, like that the income that we drew from that would be considered our income.
I think I would. I'd be wondering about that if I were entering in that marriage. Like, how can we protect what you've already created, but how can I be a player and how that grows from here on out? Like, how can I be a part of that? I think I might be wondering about that. That's tough, man.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, and then the only other additional part is we're planning to get a house, and I was just going to buy the house. We title it in both of our names. I just consider it community property.
Yeah, well, it sounds like you're being very gracious about this, Derek. I think it's such a hard line to be wise in a situation and being, I mean, you don't sound like you're drawing these crazy hard lines and you know what I mean? And you're pushing it like it's, your tone feels very humble and gracious, which I think she probably very much appreciates. I'm trying to think if I were in her position, which you never can fully do for somebody, there's a part of me that, I don't know, I think I would understand you're coming in with 12 million. Yeah. And I understand that's not mine right now, right? Like I don't know.
Yeah, this one's hard for me. I see.
Are you an anti-prenup?
No, I'm not. I would not go that far. I think it's just it is a very tough way to start out a marriage. Clearly, yes, because we're dividing yours versus mine. Yeah, and everything else in the marriage is out. Is we say we, us, our. So it is tough. And if you're a person, I'll put myself in the shoes. Me. I've always viewed, when you enter a marriage, it's like this. Yes. You don't know who you're going to fall in love with. And that person happens to be loaded. And now suddenly you're like, this picture I had of it being ours is not possible. That's just tough. I'm not saying it's wrong. It's just tough.
Yeah. Well, and I think too, Derek, I think it's too, I think it can feel like the 12 million's off in this corner and we're never going to participate in it. But I think it comes into it's mine. if something happens. But up until that point, it's ours. Like we're sharing assets.
That's a good point. That is a very good point.
Like we are living our lives together as one. But for some reason, if something ever happened in a divorce, this part still goes back to me. Does that make sense? I wonder if framing it.
That's a good way to frame it, because that
with her, because it can be hers, right? Like you guys can share in this. It's the only time it's not hers is if you guys legally go through a divorce. Does that make sense?
Yeah. It totally makes sense. And that is how we want to live going into the marriage.
Yeah, and it sounds like and that sounds like your attitude, because you're going to take some of our money and we're going to buy a house together with this money and use this money for our family. So I think it's such a fine line, Derek. I mean, it's so hard, but I think I would keep and bring in a third party. If there's a great marriage counselor or therapist, honestly, it's something to think through and even get other opinions because, you want to be on the same page with this.
Hey, technology has changed a lot in the last 30 years. Now the hot topic is AI, and I understand that it might seem intimidating. But if you use AI the right way, it's just another tool to help you work smarter and faster, like a calculator or a cordless drill. So if you run a business, you'd better get on board with it before you get left behind. And NetSuite by Oracle offers AI-powered tools that help small businesses improve efficiency and make smarter decisions by bringing all their major business processes into one platform. That way there's one source of truth for the real-time data you need to take advantage of opportunities. Then you can forecast better, scale more efficiently, and streamline those manual tasks that take too long. So join the more than 41,000 businesses, including Ramsey Solutions, that rely on NetSuite to help tackle some of their biggest challenges. And right now you can download the CFO's Guide to AI and Machine Learning at netsuite.com/Ramsey. That's free at netsuite.com/Ramsey.
Welcome back to the Ramsey Show. Up next, we have Melissa in Charleston, West Virginia. Hi, Melissa. Welcome to the show.
Hi, how are you?
Doing great. How can we help?
Yes. So I recently purchased a home in West Virginia about a month ago. And since living there, my family and I have got really sick, experiencing allergy-like symptoms. Long story short, ended up getting someone to come and test for mold, and it's very high numbers in Stachybotrys. I don't know, I'm probably butchering that name, but it's the one that's really, really dangerous. So now I'm in the other side. I'm post-closing. I did go through the property disclosure. It was as is, and it was a flip. And also, I did also get a home inspector as well, and this is through a VA loan. So now I'm trying to figure out if I should do a mold remediation myself or go ahead and do a deed in lieu of foreclosure situation, because now I don't feel comfortable staying there at all, because what else is concealed in this house, I don't know. And turns out the guy that flipped it has a horrible reputation around the community for doing basically lipstick on a pig flips.
So when you did the inspection to purchase the home, it didn't come up on the inspection, but now it is? Can you clarify that for me?
Yeah, the mold is in plain view, but from a lay person, if you look at it, it looks like mildew or maybe like dirt, just like a dirty basement.
Yeah.
But the second inspector that came in said, this is definitely mold. It's in plain view. Nobody called this. He said the appraiser could have called it, but I know they're there for just evaluation purposes. But he said that, you potentially have a case. And I've contacted attorneys, and they are all pretty much said that I don't have a case because it's a buyer beware state, which I wasn't. I didn't know what that meant. So the onus is on the buyers, and there's not a lot of consumer protections for us in West Virginia.
Oh, shoot.
Wow.
Have you had any estimates on what it would cost to try to go through? And I mean, mold is such a frustrating part of the, that whole process of renovation. But have you what's
the remediation cost?
Yes. So I had an adjuster come for with my homeowner's insurance, but of course they deemed it pre-existing, and the adjuster told me that the basement is not even up to code. So the cost of going the basement is like $20,000 plus, and the mold remediation itself would be $10K plus.
Is that how many? Okay, so let's keep, I think for now, we keep the mold separate from the basement not being to code and find out, because here's the thing. If you get the mold out of the house and you're ready to sell the property, then you can say you can sell it. You can feel good about it. There's no mold here. The other question, but I did have the question. So you're telling me your inspector missed the mold and missed the fact that the basement wasn't to code?
Yes. And he said, one of my questions before I hired him was, how long have you been doing it? What are just asking his history of his work. And he's like, over 20 years. And I looked at reviews. He has great reviews on the BBB. And
that's weird.
All this stuff. And I was like, are you approved by the VA? And he was like, yes. And I verified everything and everything checked out on paper. But yeah, none of that.
And there's nothing on him. There's no liability towards whoever did the inspection.
And that's what the lawyers are saying?
But they are saying that the likelihood of it, of winning in court is low because of that caveat emptor, buyer beware thing in West Virginia, and the fact that they have no duty to disclose mold in West Virginia.
And what's the point of the DACM inspection? What's the point of it?
Exactly. You would have to hire a mold inspector on top of the regular home inspector and a radon inspector and whatever other inspectors separately in order to do this. And they said it was a law just passed with the Supreme Court. Back, I think 2020, just last year, it was something recent that passed. But my realtor in the agency, his broker, he told me that I did have something and that I should pursue it. But my thing is, go into further debt with litigation, going back and forth with these lawyers, which is a shot in the dark, or just take an L and I mean, it's going to ding my credit, but I need to get out of it because we're essentially homeless.
Why can't you just put it on the market? You've purchased it. Can't you just put it back on the market for sale? Why does it have to go into foreclosure, I guess is what I'm saying?
Because I'm going to have to disclose it and it's not remediated. So also I asked that question. They said a lot of lenders won't lend on a home with active mold. Now the mold, I don't know if it's active because I've got a dehumidifier down there and I've sealed up where moisture may have gotten in. But I don't know who deems it active or not, but you can see it now because I've pulled paneling off. It was hidden. It was even more like the obvious mold that you would be behind paneling.
So what if we said this? What if we said, let's get a couple of opinions on what it's really going to cost to get this remediated? And then do you have any money anywhere?
No. And the money I am getting, I run a business out of West Virginia and right now we're living with my man and we're going back and forth 2.5 hours between Columbus and where we're at every other day. So I can still take clients and that money is going towards gas and food. And because I've had to take the kids out of school because they are allergic to it. And I got them allergy tested to verify what I'm saying,
Yeah. How much are you making a year, Melissa?
I'm a disabled veteran. So on top of that, I would say about 80,000 a year.
What do you get for the disability per month?
About 5.
Okay. So
just under 5. It's like 4.9 or 4.8, something like that.
Okay. And then what do you take home from your actual job? Take home
per month?
I would say about 5.
So we've got $10K a month. How many kids?
2.
And how much is this mortgage out of your take home?
15.
1,500?
Okay, that's good. So Melissa, I almost would just go rent somewhere.
Yeah.
I mean, be paying the mortgage, go rent, because this isn't feasible. The 2.5 hour thing, I think that adds stress. I think that's exhausting everybody. Pulling the kids out of the routine. I mean, that's just miserable. I would just go rent somewhere. Go rent 1-2 bedroom apartment, knowing it's short term.
Cheap.
Yes. And just knowing like this is what we're going to do, just to have some stability from where you were.
And then they can get back in school.
Yes. And then from there, gosh, I would probably get even a second attorney's opinion. And sometimes, they'll take cases and with what, is won in court, if so, then that's how they get paid. So you're not having to go deeply in debt with all this litigation and stuff. So, so maybe even from a different standpoint, from a payment perspective, you can find someone different on that end. But I would probably still pursue that because this feels like a lot of negligence on the end of your inspector, even though the mold thing, which I guess is the biggest part of all of this, if he doesn't have to disclose it or find it, that has to be separate in West Virginia. I mean, that's just bizarre. And then I would be saving and I would do the cheapest renovation you can to get this mold out. That would be safe to resale so that you can, in good conscience, sell this home.
Right.
Would you want to stay in the home if you did get the mold all clear?
I don't, and I don't want to stay. I love the home. That's why I bought it. But I no longer want to stay there because now with this man's reputation being the way it is.
Yeah, you don't know what else.
More things will be wrong.
Sure, you don't know. Yeah. So I would save Melissa really aggressively, stage by stage, redoing this house from just the mold, right? Not the up to code basement thing. Someone can renovate that if they want, but just getting the mold out, put it on the market and sell it. And in good faith to say, this was cleaned up.
Yeah.
You don't know. I mean, the guy has a terrible reputation. You don't know what else is there, but you don't know, right?
Gosh,
and if the inspector finds something else, then we can deal with that. But I would put it on the market and try to sell it just to get out of it.
And we'll give you every dollar so you can really plan this $10,000 a month to make that happen.
Yes. Oh, I'm so sorry, Melissa. It's such a headache. Terrible, terrible, terrible.
Hey, what are you still doing here? You know the rest of the show's happening on the Ramsey Network app, right? So you got to jump over there to continue watching. You can download it for free. Just go to your app store, type in Ramsey Network. It's completely free, and I'll drop a link in the show notes to make it easy for you. So if you're watching on the app, you're in luck. But if you're watching anywhere else, this show is over for you. So jump onto the app and let the fun continue. All right. Go on now. Don't make it weird. Okay, I got nowhere to go, so you need to go. Okay, bye-bye now. All right, it's getting weird over there, guys. What do we do?